Right. Let's shuffle on, ladies and gents, to a funny topic now.
We dock 3 times a week. I heard about this.
The Batgirl director says the movie was a blend of Nolan and Burton, and there was an Oscar-worthy performance in it.
From whom?
What? Wow. What did you hear first and foremost, Tom? Because you burst out laughing straight away.
I just heard their comment about it being an Oscar-worthy performance.
Yeah.
And
No.
Oh, honestly,
stroking their own ego some more, sopping up their tears because it was one of the worst movies ever.
yeah. So there's a few things to sort of unpack here, right? So, yeah, as Kalechi says in the chat, stop the cap. Absolutely stop the cap. Fucking Christ alive, these people. This is massive, sort of reflexive
Mental illness
commentary. Well, it's very reflexive. It's very reflexive commentary from the directors. So what it is that they've realised that the Batgirl movie is a tarnish. It's a stain on their filmography, right? They realise that, and they do this very reflexive thing where they choose to, at any point in time, whenever available, to constantly talk about it, because they think talking about it is going to get ahead of the fact that everyone knows it was garbage and will put them in a better light. It's this weird knee-jerk, reflexive, very knee-jerk reaction to, sort of a self-imposed sort of mental state that they put themselves in, as opposed to just going, yeah, shit, let's just move on and never talk about it ever again. They're constantly bringing it up. I mean, this has been done now, but every time it comes up, the only thing that we talk about is how bad it was. Never about what they say that is good, because no one can believe a word they say, because everyone could see the stills. We saw the behind the scenes things. We knew it was garbage. So, it's funny that they're constantly trying to do this, but also not funny all at the same time. So what was said, right? So deemed unreleasable, which is hilarious. They spoke with Yahoo Entertainment talking about a new film. And they said, look, I think about Batgirl every day. That's what I mean. It's almost like a mental illness now.
Get help.
I replay the making of the movie in my head thinking, what should we have done differently? A different movie. But as we say, that was God's plan. We can only hope to come back to DC one day. Never going to happen, mate. And if it does, DC are stupid, but they're stupid anyway, so we know. But undoubtedly, they're going to be massively stupid. Why? Well, they're not going to come back, sorry. And if they did, they'd be massively stupid. Why? Well, they even admitted to wanting to go on the DC servers and steal the film. And then
they were stupid for not having a copy already.
They tried.
But you're not allowed it, obviously, because people knew about the
Snyder Cut, I'd find a way.
Releasing stuff. And so, yeah, they admitted to trying to steal the film.
Early cuts.
Well, yeah, but that's them being smart now, anyway, DC.
Right, I know.
Anyway, point is, why would Warner Brothers want you back if you admit to trying to steal the film for stars? And so they said this. It was really a blend between Nolan and Burton. How was it? We've all seen the stills. Gotham City was a more realistic world, and the story was very straightforward and emotional. It was more of an actor's movie without a lot of visual effects, but I can believe that because it had a tiny budget.
And considering what Burton said about The Flash, I can only imagine what he'd have said about this piece of shit. Sorry, Nate. Did you hear about that recently?
Right. Yeah.
He called it cultural appropriation.
I know. Hey, what a legend. So they said, we don't really like CGI, so we use a lot of miniatures. There was this one great action sequence where a truck crashed into a tunnel, and we did it with miniatures like Burton did in Batman. It remains the coolest thing we've ever done in movies. It was old school filmmaking, and we'll do it again. Fine, that might have been cool, but whatever. And then they say this. We had to keep the budget low, so it was a very grounded story. It wasn't grounded because the character had no training and was randomly amazing at everything. But the fact that the budget wasn't that high already would have helped it be a success. It fucking did not help Blue Beetle. People do love the Bat family. They love Batgirl. Yeah, they might, but they've also had to suffer through Batwoman for however many years. They love Gotham City. They love Michael Keaton and Brendan Fraser. Gave an Oscar-worthy performance in the movie. Press X to doubt. Brendan Fraser is a great actor and an Oscar-worthy actor. But with that material he's working with, I doubt it's an Oscar-worthy performance.
Not only that, the Fat movie was an easy Oscar of a guy that people were feeling sorry for. I hate to say it, it's the equivalent of a pity fuck in Hollywood.
Well,
no, it totally fucking was, because everybody was always like, "Oh, poor Brendan Fraser, forgetting the fact that he made 3 shitty fucking mummy movies after the first one, or 2 of them, or whatever it was. He's done shit like Monkey Bones and fucking that remake of that with the movie with what's her face instead of Dudley Moore, Bedazzled.
Oh yeah.
He did he did like a string of nothing but expensive flops, and people forget that. Like, I don't know why.
Yeah, no, I agree, but that still doesn't.
Encino Man was a hit. Mummy was a hit. That's all he had.
Well, Blast from the Past, was that him?
It was a good movie, but I don't know about a hit.
That doesn't negate the fact that he still gave a very good performance in that film. It's important to separate those things.
Oh, absolutely. But my point is if that would have just been Brendan Fraser after all these years, he'd have got nominated maybe. But the reason he won was more over pity of the fact that he had this, oh, woe is me too moment, basically.
Maybe. The whole point of it was simply he can give a good performance. But I doubt
totally. I'm not taking that away from him.
No, the whole point I'm trying to make is he can give a good performance, but I doubt he would have given a good performance with Batgirl, because that material is atrocious. Like, absolutely, it was going to be atrocious. His performance is only as good as the material he's working with.
I apologize. So I'm just in a spicy mood today.
Apparently so. But that would have been terrible. Like, even he couldn't have made that good. Let's get real here.
Dudley Do-Right? No.
So they say the movie was supposed to be for streaming, which allows you freedoms that you don't get in theaters. If it was a theatrical movie, we might have needed to have had a bigger action sequences than we had, but we'll never know. Thoughts, ladies and gents? Well, gents of the panel.
No, this movie was doomed from the start. I don't know where they're getting. Why do they think about it every day? Why do they keep talking about it? It's not going to make it happen, right? And this is again, and this is where I have to backtrack on something that I didn't agree with at the time, but I totally see now why they said it. The Snyder Cut was a bad idea. I normally have no issues with directors being able to do different versions of their films and such like that. I mean, I was one of the people that was for years championing for the Donner cut of Superman 2 and The Exorcist, the beginning recut and all that kind of stuff like that. But after the whole Snyder Cut thing, even the creators now think that they can will into existence this movie thing. Like, David Ayer won't shut the fuck up about Suicide Squad, right? Even though he's claimed he's going to stop talking about it. And it's like, no, you haven't. You have not stopped talking about it since day one. You're going to get it eventually, but just because the movie's done. But just quit. Just get out of your own way at this point. Same thing with Batgirl, people. It's never going to happen. Never going to happen. Why? Because it was a tax write-off. That's why. You're never going to see it. It has less of a chance than the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad for that very fucking reason, right? It's just never coming out of the garbage can. They're not going to pay off whatever it costs. Because a culture, go ahead and pick it up from here, because I can't imagine what it would cost or what legal bullshit they would have to go through just to bring this movie out legally.
Okay, so they would have to untangle the tax problem, which is going to have its own implications, because this is essentially a product that has been written off and, while not possibly physically destroyed, essentially destroyed as far as the industry would have you believe. And they would have to untangle the tax thing and somehow write it back into existence. Then they would have to finish filming it, which there seems to be arguments going back and forth, just how much was left to film.
I heard 20% was left at least.
I think it's about 20-25%, but there's arguments about that. I'm just going to leave it there. And then they would have to complete all the special effects that needed to be added. There were some costuming effects that would have to be added. There were lots of backgrounds that would have to be added, even though they did do some physical stuff in this. And there was also supposed to be a cameo that I don't know how they would plug now, because this isn't existing in that same universe anymore. And then you have to finish it. They were working on the score. The last I'd heard, they were working on the score for this, and willing to pay for it themselves, hire the orchestra to complete the soundtrack there, and the score, and then they'd have to finish the film, which is everything that goes along with editing it, the whole 9 yards, and a lot of stuff you have to go keyframe by keyframe. So there's like 6 months, a year into getting this thing to the point where they could put it out in theaters with a production budget that has now exploded on top of what they've already spent.
And like you already pointed out, Mr. H, even Blue Beetle couldn't cover its.
No.
Yeah.
That was cheap. There's no way in hell.
There's no will.
They are going to be releasing this film.
And don't forget, kids, that everybody says, well, we want a Batman Beyond movie with Michael Keaton. That's what this was. I mean, people keep forgetting that.
Terribly.
This was the de facto Batman Beyond movie with Michael Keaton that we reported like 3 or 4 years ago about.
Yeah. And so we get another swing at Keaton, and there's another cameo in this, and I forget who it was, but I don't know why they would even bother.
It was one of the other Justice League.
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, I don't know why they would even bother.
Because this was one of the movies that solidified what was going to be basically the new reset version of the DC universe at that point.
I don't want to pay that quote. Nobody in their right mind wants to pay that quote. It's dumb.
That's what I'm saying. So it takes so much red tape and money and other issues to get it out of hock at this point. It's not like you can just dust it off and release it. That's why I don't understand why the directors just need to move on. Right?
Yeah.
No matter what you do, you are not resurrecting this. It is dead.
But see, that's the problem, right? Because they only had one other gig after this that was the next Bad Boys film.
And that's what sucks, because I thought Bad Boys 3 was good.
Yeah.
I thought it was even better than the second film. In fact, made the second film better retroactively, which is a good thing a sequel can do sometimes.
Yeah.
And then you have the Miss Marvel thing, which I didn't watch, but a lot of people said was really well done. And I know these guys are kind of like, from what I've heard from people who've known them and stuff like that, they're not like into a lot of the woke shit and all that business. But I don't know what it was about this Batgirl movie other than it just stank to high heaven. I didn't hear anything about it other than that. And we already know. Yeah. So what do you know, Mr. H, on the story side?
Yeah. So I sort of alluded to it, didn't I? I said that, grounded. It wasn't grounded. The character was a Mary Sue. She had like a photographic memory. Was an instant great detective.
Was she even Barbara Gordon?
Kick-ass and, hey,
was she even Barbara Gordon?
I literally just went to look for the email from my source. Couldn't find it. So
because that's the other thing because I think the person you're thinking of, Culture, if I remember right, was what's his face who played Gordon in the Justice League.
Yep. Yeah,
was in it.
J.K. Simmons.
Yes.
It was.
And I think they either changed their familial connection, or it is still his daughter, but it's like his stepdaughter or something like that, or a whatever. I don't remember.
No idea.
Granddaughter. I can't remember which they changed it to, but you might have heard more than I did. So
yeah, I mean, I had a lot of emails.
Trying to think of his name. J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, I said that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not hear you, H. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good, mate. Yeah, I heard just terrible things about this film. It wasn't very good at all. But it wasn't anything out and out, well, this is, politically correct or anything like that. It was just like, this is just terrible. Like a lot of it didn't make sense. Michael Keaton was a glorified cameo. Just awful stuff. Awful stuff. I'd have to try and dig out the emails again, but I think Gmail might have deleted them. But it was just terrible from start to finish. And I remember when everyone did their reports, it's test screened and it's done amazing. And I'm just like, yeah, no, it's terrible actually. And people were like, you're making shit up, me. And then a month later, it's like, yeah, it's been canned. I'm like, well, who was right then? It's like, I was right. Thank you very much, John Campier. You suck my wang.
He's got a very bad track record lately.
Speaking of, I need to make a what kind of dumb shit did John Campea say this week?
Oh gosh, yeah,
we still don't have the video.
I have not been fed the song. I thought
I sent it to you like 3 times now.
Still no.
Oh my god, I'm gonna send it to you again for like the 3rd time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we should actually have a Campea versus Randolph thing as well, like dueling.
We should do a segment of dumb
like a rap battle,
dueling stupidity.
Yeah. I'd like that. Yeah, have like Mortal Kombat versions of Race Randolph and Campea on the screen versus
victory.
Fuck's sake. So funny. Anyway.